Welcome to You Talk Sports, the Pat McAfee response show. I'm going to be opening up the Zoom room right now, and we'd love to have you join us here on Zoom to give us your take on everything that's happening in sports and being talked about in the Pat McAfee show. I see we've got about a dozen people entering the Zoom room right now. Good to see some familiar faces as well as some new people. And let's dive right into things. Welcome back to You Talk Sports. This is Greg Wells. I'm your host and founder, and we're going to be responding to takes from the Pat McAfee show this morning. And then coming up at 9 p.m. Eastern tonight, we're going to go into our game of the night. There is no NBA tonight, so tonight's game of the night will be Houston versus Iowa State, a big 12 matchup. Both teams are ranked. Houston is ranked number 3 right now. These are teams you're going to need to know about in your March Madness brackets that are coming out. This is a great chance to lay some eyes on them, get some takes on them from our panel here today. If you're watching us on YouTube, we'd love to have you join us here on Zoom. Just type Zoom into the chat, and I will drop the Zoom link there for everyone. Let's just hop over to the chat and just see if we have anyone there right now. Also, by the way, everyone who is here in Zoom, I'm going to put the link to YouTube over in the Zoom chat. And if you could please join us over on YouTube as well. And if everyone could please, who's here in Zoom, go over to YouTube, pull up in another browser tab, pull up the YouTube broadcast, and just tell us in the chat where you're joining us from today. This way we can get to know everyone who's here, especially our new people. And this way we are supercharging our YouTube chat. This is part of our plans for growing the channel. We are a new channel. And one of the things I found in launching this talk show is that there are lots of people going every night online to watch whatever games on ESPN or TNT. They want to chat. They want to be in participation. These games are on regular TV at home, so they're probably watching the games at home. They want to have people to watch the games with. And that's kind of the premise that we started this show with, You Talk Sports, is for us to come together to watch whatever game is on. During football season, we'll be watching Monday Night Football, Sunday Football, Thursday Night Football. Right now, it's primarily basketball season, so that's what we're focusing on for this time of year. So if you would like to join the conversation and watch the game, we'll have the game on once it tips off at 9 p.m. tonight, just like they do in the other live broadcasts of the game. And we'll be watching it together. We'll be giving our input on what's happening. There's always a lot of heated discussions that are here. So that's the focus of what we're doing in this channel. Also, we are looking to grow a team. And if you're interested in auditioning to be on the team, to be in the show on a regular basis, we encourage you to join us here on Zoom. Some people are here for that tonight. And I'm excited to dive right into takes on the All-Star game tonight. And I want to start with a clip from Stephen A. Smith. Again, Pat McAfee was not on today. We're going to be breaking down some of his most recent clips and some of his most controversial clips. He's on vacation for the next 2 weeks. So if you're jonesing, missing Pat McAfee, like I am and a lot of us are, this is the place you want to be to participate in the conversation as to what's happening in sports. Yesterday was the NBA All-Star game, and we want to get takes on the NBA All-Star game. And I'm going to start with playing a clip here from Stephen A. Smith with his take this morning on the NBA All-Star game. He essentially calls the NBA All-Star game an absolute travesty. And so love him or hate him, you know, one thing about Stephen A. Smith is he is good at stirring the pot, stirring up controversy, having headlines like calling the game a travesty. And I'm going to be, again, being transparent in how we grow this show. That's what we're looking for here. We're looking for those viral moments, those outrageous comments. If you come on here and you essentially say the same things that they're saying on ESPN, that's cool if you're coming to hang out. But we were, as a show and the team and the staff, we're looking to create viral moments and headlines that can help us grow the show. Our plan for growing the show is to tap into the audience that's already here looking for the game of the night, and also to start producing our own content from the show. And we'd love to have everyone who's here every night that you can join us watching the show. So I'm going to play this clip, and then we're going to use the Zoom raise of hand feature. If you want to give a take on the NBA All-Star game, we'll be doing takes on football and basketball. Those are the two main things we talk about here today. Don't feel like you have to give a take on every topic. Like Sharon, I know really her sweet spot is the NFL and the Saints. So we'll save your takes till we're talking about football. If you're more of a basketball person, give a take on that. We don't give a take just for the sake of giving a take. We're here to give takes and entertain our audience that's on YouTube as well as ourselves, right? To make this a fun experience for everyone. Okay, so let's hop over online here. I'm just going to go over to the broadcast here. You can see all of us. And let's just double check the chat. Everyone needs to pull this up. I put this link in the Zoom chat here. And let's see, where is the live chat on this? One night I pressed the wrong button and live chat was not available. Let's hope that it is here today. Are you guys seeing the chat when you pull this up? Yeah, why am I not? Oh, here it is on the right. Okay. That's why. All right, we got Blaze and Jackie are here. Awesome. Sharon and Jordan and Alvin. Everyone that's commented here, I see about 6 of you guys. You'll be the ones that we're calling on for takes. If you want to give your take here on the show, you need to fully participate, which means come over to YouTube. Just pull this up in another browser tab. And you leave this up so that we're getting our views and our takes here. Vincent's here today. Houston, Las Vegas. Oh, we got a lot of different takes from different people here today. I'm excited. We got some New Orleans people here and the Houston fans for the Houston game that's coming up later tonight. It's going to be a good game. Houston, I didn't even realize Houston was in the Big 12. Somebody's going to have to fill me in on how and when that happened. But I'm excited for this game. This will be tipping off at 9 p.m. Eastern. We'll be getting into coverage of this game. All right, so let's start with the first clip. As you can see, I've got a bunch of clips queued up from Pat McAfee and from what's happening, and we want to get takes on these. We're going to start with the one I mentioned from Stephen A. Smith. Here we go.
In the East, 211, 186 win over the West.
You guys hear that?
The NBA All-Star Game did not deliver the competitive product stressed for months by Commissioner Adam Silver. All-Star MVP Damian Lillard with his thoughts on whether the competitiveness can be fixed.
I think something could be done about it. I'm not sure what, but I think there's a way to make it a more competitive game. I don't think anybody's going to play in it like it's the playoffs, but it's a way to get guys to come to the table and just play a more solid game, I guess. But I did think it was a good game. Anytime the crowd is engaged and you're hearing oohs and ahs, but it was just too many probably leak out, go get a dunk, go get a layup type of moments. And I think if we could just limit those, people probably wouldn't feel the way they feel sometimes about it. I don't know. I think it's something we need to.
All right, so let's go around the horn here. And if I fast forward to Stephen A's part, you'll hear him essentially calling this a travesty.
Working out. Summertime, Shannon. You know this.
Let's use the Zoom raise of hand if you want to give us a take on what you saw in the All-Star game. If you feel the All-Star game needs fixing or not, if it's possible to fix it, or if you're saying it doesn't need fixing, what was it that entertained you in the All-Star game? We're going to take takes on this in just a minute. Let's just hear from Stephen A. Smith first.
Okay. Yeah. See guys giving effort in the summertime. That's all I'm saying. To that degree, that is not hard. The fact that you will go out there and flagrantly show such a lack of effort on the defensive side of the ball in any capacity is just a travesty. Now, if you want to sit up there and look at the fact that the kids are there to watch.
All right. Let's see. I see Michael's got his hand up. We'll go first to Michael. Then we're going to go to Blaze and then Steve. If you could have yourself unmuted when you're in the queue, that way you're ready to go as soon as your turn comes up. Go ahead, Michael. What's your take on the NBA All-Star game?
Yeah, so to me, it's not just the All-Star game. It's the whole All-Star weekend that needs to be revamped. As someone that was looking forward to the dunk contest, the three-point contest, skill challenge, it just looked like all the players just didn't really care to be there. I did hear some rumblings on Twitter that some players want to be paid to be there. In my mind, I don't think that should be an incentive to play just because you are getting paid a lot. I do understand that for the lower level players that are looking for that new contract that are haven't gotten that max contract yet, I get that can be an incentive. But if you want to be an all-star, I think there's a requirement to that. I think that you should play to the capabilities of what you possess. The dunk contest was an absolute joke. Jaylen Brown, I applaud him for stepping up, being that one all-star that actually did go and participate, but his dunks were, oh my God, were they terrible. He jumped over a 5'3" Kai Cenat sitting down in a chair to make him even shorter while you have Jamie Jaquez Jr. and Matt McClung dunking over Shaq. And for some reason, Jaquez's dunk scores were less than Jaylen Brown jumping over essentially a 4'5" guy sitting down. So I just think that there needs to be a whole new revamp of the All-Star Weekend. I think Adam Silver needs to understand that the fan product they need the more of the fan involvement, the engagement. I get Dame said that it's great on the fans side, hearing the oohs and ahs, but from someone watching at home, I don't think this was a product that the NBA should be proud of.
Got it. Some good points there, Michael.
I think last thing, I do think like they should try to do a one-on-one tournament. I think would be great, and it's only for the players that got voted as an all-star.
A one-on-one tournament. I think that's a spicy idea. I like it. So we're gonna, with this many people here tonight, we're gonna do a 60-second countdown timer just so everyone gets a turn to give their take on this. And let's see. I'm gonna make Cameron our co-host. If you could help keep an eye on the waiting room in case anyone else pops up and wants to join us, because sometimes when I get going, I will say, from my understanding, the players, there is some pay for the players. And when it comes to salary renegotiations, if you're an all-star, that's like something they take into account as to how much you can get in your contract. So I do think there are, there is already some pay to it. Also, for the sake of this, keeping us on focused here, let's focus on just the NBA All-Star game, not the whole weekend. We'll circle back and cover that in another take. All right, Blaze is up, and then Steve, and then Jordan, and then Vincent. Go ahead, Blaze, you're on the clock.
I agree with Stephen A. 1,000,000% about it being a complete travesty, and only because, I'm the resident Miami Heat guy. Pass the ball to Bam. Bam had, to pass the ball to Bam. I enjoyed and loved seeing a lot of people. That's what they were doing. They were doing a lot of jacking up shots. And it was the big guys that wanted to get it competitive. You saw Cat wanting to go out there and be competitive. The Orlando boy wanted to go and get it competitive. But, I love that Bam took an initiative on himself and just took the shot because he knew nobody was going to give it back to him in the post. So I just feel like there need to be some type of incentive. I don't know what the incentive is, even if it is prize, because I know they do it for the charities, but they seem like they don't care about the charities. They're like, so I just feel like to make the All-Star game better, there has to be some type of incentive. And I don't know what that is, maybe individually for the players and not just the charities. But that's my opinion on it.
Got it. Perfect. 60 seconds. And, Bam, he, like you said, he had to jack up that shot early on. He knew nobody was going to be passing to him later on. So they got to do something. I'm with you. All right, let's go to Steve and then Vincent. Go ahead, Steve.
Man, it's not just the NBA All-Star Weekend. It's the NBA. The refs have ruined this game. I was the biggest NBA fan in the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s. And then the refs decided that they were more important than the players, and now they don't let them play defense. I mean, can you think of the bad boys from Detroit playing against any of these teams the way they played in the 90s? There would be bodies all over the floor, and it wouldn't even be competitive. So they've got to fix the game. They've got to let the refs, let the players play, and stop just thinking that all anybody wants to see is scoring. And that's what happened yesterday. Nobody played a lick of defense, and you could see what happens from that. It's not entertaining. It's awful. It's hard to watch.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the refs that are doing that. To me, that's a league-wide initiative to that they think that's what the fans want. They don't want hand checking and defense. They want these high scoring games anymore. I don't know. Being a
Dennis
ref,
Rodman would foul
and I
out
love
every
it. The
game.
takes where we disagree are the best ones. But being a ref, I wouldn't put. To me, the refs are executing what the league tells them to do.
You got to let the guys play. I mean, let them play some deep. Dennis Rodman couldn't play in this NBA.
Yeah, very true. All right, we're going to
Okay.
Vincent and then Jared and then Yolanda. Go ahead, Vincent.
I'm with the players on this one, honestly. To me, I see the All-Star game as just a formality of the All-Star weekend. The NBA's way to kind of get out with this, with the people watching it, with the fans. Other than that, I think they need the money. How else are you going to incentivize NBA players to put the bodies on the line? Nobody wants to play defense and play hard down there because they don't want to hurt somebody. You're going to get talked about on the internet. You're going to get ridiculed by everybody else if you hurt LeBron James or our guy Damian Lillard with the MVP. So I'm with the players on this. They probably need some pay, but it's just a formality of the All-Star weekend. Nobody's taking it seriously. I mean, they take half of the regular season games seriously. They'll sit it out because the playoffs is where it matters. That's all that
Yeah, you
matters.
make a great point. I'm being a Boston fan. If Jason Tatum gets hurt in the All-Star game, I'm losing my mind. Right?
Yeah.
Like why, guys? Now, the question that I think I would love to hear someone else's take on is what is playing like half-assed actually more injury prone than if you play real basketball, or is real basketball the most injury prone? That I'm not sure of. Let's go to we'll circle back around if we have time to respond on this. Let's go to Jared and then we're going to Yolanda and then Hassan. Go ahead, Jared.
Thanks, Greg. It's like, to me, what All-Star game? That wasn't an All-Star game. It's a joke. It's like Stephen A. Smith, a travesty. They just want money. It's just an entertainment piece. Where's the toughness? Where's the grit? Where don't you want to play against the best in the league? Like, that's what you're trained for the Olympics and for the playoffs as well. It's like, don't you want to play against the best in the league? If you're worried about injuries, get more players to be an all-star selection. You don't have to play the whole game. Just have them play for like 5 or 10 minutes. Like, it's not that big of an ask. It's just really a joke. Like everyone's been saying, in the 90s and 2000s, all-star games were something that were meant to be. And I really think they need to change this. And I think they should do it like the MLB. Whoever wins the All-Star game gets home advantage in the finals. I mean, because then people will start paying attention. Then people will start caring. At the end of the day, it's not the players just want a paycheck. Well, I don't understand what's so great about a paycheck. Don't you care about the sport, the heart of the game? Why does money matter? Do the sport you love, not because you love money.
Yeah, although I don't know if any players are saying pay us more and we'll play harder in this. But I do like your idea of maybe, the home field advantage. That was an interesting thing that baseball had. I actually heard baseball's going away with that. I'm not sure why. I'm not a big baseball guy. But I do think something like that would be something that matters and could be up the right path. Yolanda, what's your take on the All-Star game?
Well, I am definitely going to take the opposite on this. What is a travesty in my mind is really believing that you're going to see a real basketball game for All-Star weekend. It is what it is. It's All-Star weekend, and this is the game that is forefront. And of course, you vote the players in, they come to play the game. But if you have realistic thoughts or intentions and really believe that they're here to play like they're actually playing a regular season game, the NBA doesn't start until after the All-Star break is over, in my opinion. So this is their last hurrah before they have to buckle down and start getting ready to make that run for the playoffs. So for you to sit over here and expect to see something else from this All-Star game, I think you have set your expectations above and beyond, because it's entertainment at its best, and that's what they're there for, to entertain.
Yeah, very interesting take there, Yolanda. What really is the purpose of the All-Star game, I think, is part of the question here. What are we really trying to do? And Yolanda makes a great point. Half these guys are barely taking the regular season serious. How are we expecting them to take the All-Star game serious? All right, we're going to go to Hassan and then Jordan. We'll wrap up with Jordan. Go ahead, Hassan.
Hey, guys, great takes all the way around. The home court advantage in this case, coming from the MLB. MLB, I think, stopped it this past season. They're going back to just playing an all-star game. They had done it for roughly a couple of a decades since that tie in Milwaukee, but focusing on the all-star game. To piggyback on the point made about where's the talent, where are the all-stars? They're they're there. They were there, but what I've heard since last night, this morning, today is that we're looking at a different breed of basketball players cut from a different cloth. Like they're not Jordan, they're not Kobe, they're not AI. They don't have that sort of, for lack of better terms, killer instinct, the competitiveness that's always there. I mean, we all saw The Last Dance, I'm assuming, and Jordan was competitive on and off the court. And there were a number of other of those, recent legends that did the same thing on and off the court. And had we had those kind of players today, not saying they're not all stars, they're not, best in the world, we would have had a more competitive game. Money or no money, I don't think money's a question. It's just I think it's a different breed of players.
Yeah, I think you make a great point about that. It irks me every time I see Giannis and Tatum, hanging out, being buddy, and they've been battling each other, in the conference finals here. And, so I think that's a really good point about just the nature of the players that are here. All right, Jordan, what's your take on the NBA All-Star Game? Does it need fixing, and how can they fix it?
Honestly, I don't know how they're gonna fix it. I don't know how they're gonna fix it. I don't know if they're gonna do the one-on-one, 3-on-3 tournament. Ain't really nothing to fix because it's like picking back on what Hassan said. It's the type of players. It's the type of players. Everybody want like these players to be like the players in the 90s and 80s. They're not, or even the 2000s. They're not. Like everybody wants to be everybody's friend. And I'm gonna be honest with you. Who is the player that started it all? A lot of people don't like to talk about, but yes, it is. It's LeBron James. LeBron James, he's a guy. He wants to be everybody's friend. He wants to be, because that's his personality. And it can't, and it's trickled down to all the other players. Everybody want to be everybody playing, don't want to be like push and be like, oh no, I don't want to hurt you, blah, blah, blah. But if you're looking back in the day, people, they were friends, they respected each other, they liked each other, but they're like, no, I'm still going to fight you. I'm still going to compete with you because you're still my enemy until we get off the court. Then you're my friend. And you see it in the All-Star game. It's pretty much showing how the NBA is like today.
Yeah, that's a really great point about LeBron setting the culture for the NBA. I saw another take today about how LeBron really ruined the NBA slam dunk contest. He was up until that point, Kobe and guys were going in it. When LeBron didn't want to do it, that trickled down from him as well. And so I'll end with my take on this is I don't think it is fixable. I think it is what it is. Back in the day when I was a kid in the 80s, the All-Star Game was the only time I really got to see Western Conference players because I couldn't stay up that late in the playoffs. And otherwise, they weren't on TV and there was no social media. Like the All-Star Game was a big deal. It's the only time I got to see Western Conference players. But now that we have social media, YouTube, everything, the All-Star Game just is what it is. It's the only event that's planned a year in advance. So it's like if you want to, bring your kids to see everything, like the NFL has the Super Bowl that's at a neutral site a year in advance. It's the only NBA event that's a year in advance. It's an exhibition. It's not fixable. It's to expect it to be a competitive game is just unrealistic. All right, so we ended on LeBron, and that's going to segue right into our next topic. Then we're going to go into some football and mainstream topics. If you're not an NBA person, we want to get your take on some of these other things. But because the NBA All-Star Game was here, I want to do one more on the NBA All-Star Game. I don't even want to really bother talking about the slam dunk contest, the three-point shooting contest. That's all just, barely worth talking about. But what I do feel came out of this NBA All-Star Game was the realization that LeBron is coming to the end and his era, his influence on the game is coming to an end. And so my question for the audience is who is most likely to pass the torch? Is he going to pass the torch to, and why? And can that person be the face of the league the way he's been for 20 years? Do they have, Jokic doesn't really seem to have that personality. Who can be the face of basketball for the next 20 years that is in the league right now. And I'm going to give you my take to start this one off, because I'm going to pick someone that I think nobody would think of. And I think this is the beginning of a new era of basketball. And I'll let Pat McAfee kind of tell you why, although he didn't give you this take. This is my take on who and why. Let's hear it from Pat.
Now, I watched on Peacock. Caitlin Clark is a stone cold dog. I mean, the first 8 points are the record-breaking points. There's a chance that she could be a little tight, a little bit nervous. Obviously, everybody is in that arena. Everybody that's watching that game, history is literally watching her play basketball. And in moments past, wherever that situation has arose in many sports, maybe a little bit overthinking, and it's something in like basketball, shooting basketball. If you overthink, you're a little bit tight, you can miss. She had her best game she's ever had as an Iowa Hawkeye. Puts up 49 points, has 13 assists. She would have had a bunch of rebounds if she wanted to hang out underneath the hoop more. She pulls up from the logo to break the record. Splash. It's like she is a killer. She is stone cold. She's a savage, and she is maybe one of the greatest mental competitors that I've ever watched play a sport, AJ Hawk. It sure feels.
I'm calling it right now that this is the beginning of women's sports going to an equal place with men's sports, led by Caitlin Clark. The NBA does not have a killer, does not have a person who's going to lead us into the next era, and the WNBA does. And she's here, and it's time, and I'm predicting Caitlin Clark will be the next face of basketball, and that women's basketball in the next 5 to 10 years will be equal to men's basketball in NBA. All right. Love to get your take in response to that, and also who you see stepping up here. Let's go to Blaze, and then Jared, and then Michael.
That was a crazy take right there for like, I didn't even consider that. And I kind of feel like I'm being disrespectful to women's basketball for not even considering. Like, Cece showed out. You feel me? She showed out, and the women have been showing out. There's been a lot of talk on because they need to lower the rims, and they say all of these things, and I feel that it's completely disrespectful to women's basketball. But yes, this is the most that I've paid attention with my busy schedule and everything that I'm doing. This is the most I've paid attention to women's basketball, because they've just been lighting it up on fire. So I agree. I was going to go, maybe he was going to pass it to Steph until Steph was time to be done, and then go to Ant-Man maybe, or, some of those younger guys. But I agree with the women take. My mind shifted during your take. I really see that in the next 5 years, maybe sooner, if they keep this up, yeah, it's going to be beautiful.
Awesome, Blaze. Yeah, I appreciate your insights. All right, we're going to Michael, and then Jared, and then Jordan. Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, to me, a few factors play in this. I think that obviously player performance, marketability is huge in this, and the overall impact in the league. And honestly, to me, I'm going to go with Luka. I understand that might not be the correct pick, because if you're thinking about just like homegrown talent, but you also want to market overseas. You want as much eyes and exposure on the game. And I think with the player performance impact, especially how he scored the most points in the league so far this year, I get that there's lack of defense, but I think right now, I think Luka can be the one to carry the torch, just for numerous reasons.
Yeah, Luka, I think the international is a plus, right? Dallas is a big market. I think, that's a good take. Let's go to Jared, and then Jordan, and then Steve.
I completely agree with your take. I think Caitlin Clark, she is the face of not only the WNBA in the future, but of just in basketball in general. Because I'll be honest with you, I watch basketball, but I don't watch basketball until the playoffs start, because teams can go from the 2 seed to the play-in just like that, especially at the beginning of the season. Like, there's not a lot of people watching games at the beginning of the season because football's still going on. So I honestly prefer the college basketball scene right now than the pros, especially with March Madness coming up. And I think someone that can really take over the torch after LeBron retires is definitely Giannis. I mean, he's already won an NBA title, and he shows that he can be a leader for a franchise and a team. Whether that's still with the Bucks or not, I still think he can pass the torch. and dominate this league, because after Curry, I'm not sure who else can be dominant and have that killer instinct like Caitlin Clark does in college and soon to be in the WNBA. So I feel like Giannis can do that. Curry has already had his moments and he'll retire sooner than Giannis, obviously. So I think Giannis can really take over for LeBron.
Yeah. You make a good point about just basketball fundamentals and how for true basketball fans, the NBA has been unwatchable for a long time. And if Caitlin Clark can bring back fundamentals of basketball into professional basketball and have that rise up in the WNBA, maybe the NBA can start to shift back to that. The other thing that came up as you were sharing this, your thoughts was, this surge of women getting into sports. And we're going to talk about this in football about, is the Taylor Swift thing good or bad for football? That's where we're going next if you football people want to start to get ready. But I'll tell you, if for everyone who's saying the all-star games broke, the regular season's broke, the way to fix it is to get back to fundamental basketball. And here's a superstar that wants to lead us to that. And for everyone who's saying Taylor Swift is good for football, bringing girls and fathers together, well, this should be even better. This is an actual player, not someone sitting in the stands.
Right.
All right, let's go to Jordan and then Steve and then Cameron. Go ahead, Jordan.
To be honest, I'm happy and like it touched my heart for you saying that, because I am a pro athlete who plays basketball. So like, yes, like female basketball is on the come up, women's basketball on the come up. The issue I have to say is that the WNBA, that's the own problem that needs to get fixed on its own. So I don't know. So like it's on the come up, but it's like the WNBA has to fix their stuff, with that's including adding more teams on that side. But I think besides that, if we're just going to talk about NBA and who is going to be the next person to carry the torch in just as playing ability and marketability, I think one person, and I feel and I still believe in him, is Ja Morant. I think Ja Morant has it. He has the marketability. He has the talent. He does lead teams to winning. Like he does well in Memphis Grizzlies. I know he has been having issues outside the court, but I think he has realized it and stop doing those issues. And I think he's ready to just focus on basketball. And I think with that and with his style, and people can relate to him, he relates to the new generation of basketball players. And I feel like he can be the guy to carry the torch and take it. And I feel like he has that killer instinct, which he wants to turn on, he's turned on, because especially not everybody has like turned his back on him. Like he's going to turn on that instinct.
Wow. Well, first off, you make a lot of good points about the WNBA has its own issues that I'm not necessarily up onto. I'm just seeing it as this perfect storm of LeBron is going down. There's not really an heir apparent. And meanwhile, Caitlin's on the rise. It just seems like destiny for her to take this on. Now, Ja Morant, oh my gosh, if that's the future of the league, we're in trouble, in my opinion. There's not a superstar with more and worse off the court things. I feel like this is like when you see potential in that bad boy, where there's like my mom always says to me, Greg, when are you going to grow out of like wanting to date the bad girl? Like, you're going on potential with him. There's nothing that I've seen in him that says he's ready with his off the court demeanor to carry the league and be trusted with the league in our youth. I feel like he stands for guns and gangs and all kinds of bad things, but I love it. Again, this is what we want. The best takes are the ones where we don't agree on things. So
yeah,
awesome.
But Greg, sorry to cut you off, but Greg, like you gotta remember Kobe, a guy who's the face of the league, RIP to him. But then when he was in his career, he got in trouble with them rape charges back in the day, and a lot of people turn his back on him, but he still ended up becoming the face of the league. A lot of people forgot about that.
Well, I mean, America does love a rebound story where somebody comes back around. So, and if Ja Morant can turn it around, that's great. I mean, to me, that's just more of Kobe's legacy, that he was able to not let that sink him. And so yeah, those are big shoes to fill. Phil, we need somebody. If John Morant can do it, I'll be rooting right for him. All right, we're going to Steve and then Cameron and then Matt. Go ahead.
All right, I love basketball in all forms, but the truth of the matter is there's no way that the WNBA is going to make a difference because I live here in Vegas. You could go to the finals to watch the Aces for $12 and they still couldn't sell out. So you're not going to find anyone from the WNBA becoming the face of basketball. I think maybe though, if Jason Tatum from the Celtics can, he's in a good market. If he could bring a championship back to Beantown, I think you could be looking at somebody who could be.
Yeah. Why is that, Steve? Why does nobody want to go see the WNBA championship? I mean, they're playing at that Sabrina matched Steph in the 3-point contest. They're playing at the same high level, but why is it?
Well, it's Dave Chappelle said it best. If LeBron decided tomorrow that, he was a woman, he would go to the WNBA and score 180 points every game. So it's, people want to see the games played at the highest levels. I mean, it's like women's tennis and men's tennis. It's just a different game. And people prefer the men's game.
Hey, maybe that's what it's going to take, a transgender going to the WNBA. Huh? I feel like there's a great take in there for somebody who wants to.
I mean, Shaq could go right now and score, however many. He could be grandma. Remember grandmama? Larry Johnson, go right now. He could probably be a leading scorer.
Yeah. I always say I'm all for transgender being allowed to play in sports as long as we're allowed to bet on those games. All right, let's go to
the odds quite dramatically.
Let's go to Cameron and then Matt.
All right, so my player is not taking into any of the accomplishments they did in their NBA career. If we took an NBA draft of all the prospects that's ever played in the league, I think people say this guy's the greatest prospect of all time. And that's Victor Wembanyama. He's already got a great, when I think of NBA coaches, I think like the face of the league for coaches, that's got to be Pop, right? He's a Hall of Famer. He's got you just load him up with a decent team, a good team. He'll win. Let's not forget, that's his expectation. It wasn't when he was coming in the league if he was going to be a draft or bust. Is if he's going to turn this Spurs organization around and deliver championships, just like LeBron, right? And I think even if he doesn't develop an offensive bag, which there really is no way to guard him, but if he doesn't get he changes the game with his defense. He's already one of the top defenders in the league, leads the league in blocks. His upside, his ceiling is so freaking high. I don't know where it ends with this dude.
Yeah, I think that's a great take because you're right. All the hype was there for Wemby. It's a great city, a great organization. I honestly am rooting against that. To me, like, how's that gonna inspire kids to tell them, like, you got to be 7'2" to win championships in the NBA? That's what I loved about Steph. I know he's your guy. And the only reason I don't consider Steph is we're talking about the next 20 years here, right? Steph can't be the guy that gets the torch passed to him because he's walking out around the same timeline as LeBron. But great take on Wemby. We're going to Steve and then Matt and then Jason and then Will, and then that'll close things out for this segment. Go ahead, Steve.
Are you coming back to me again?
Oh, we already went. Your hand's still up in Zoom. Sorry.
Sorry about that.
Let's go to Matt and then Jason.
Yeah, I agree with Steve about Caitlin Clark. I mean, she's incredible. Nobody can deny that. But I mean, she's probably the only player I'd go to pay to see, knowing she's at the game. I think the discrepancy from the Caitlin Clark to maybe, like, I don't want to say the worst WNBA player, but somebody on the bottom is so vast that you can't say fundamental. You can't say the NBA is so skilled. These players are so good. I think a lot of these people you guys keep talking about 80s, 90s, I don't think they play in today's NBA simply because the size, the skill level. Yeah, granted the defense and like you said, Greg, the rules are obviously different, but these guys are so good. I can barely watch college basketball anymore after seeing NBA skill level. They're that good. They're that skilled, you know. In terms of the face, again, we kind of chatted about last time I was on. I'm a huge SGA guy. I think Shea can definitely be that guy. I think he's on the rise. He's only on going up. You know, he's rated top 5 in the league this year. I think he's marketable. I think he does have that killer instinct. I think he wants to slit your throat. I think there are a lot of guys in the NBA that are like that we all keep kind of just glazing over. I think Luka, I think Devin Booker, I think KD. I think a lot of guys are there to, you know, step on your neck when they're up. You know, I again, social media, the way it's been with everybody playing together these days, whether it's summers, whether it's all this, you know, everybody's friends crap. I disagree. I think it's just the world we live in now. But I do think when it comes to winning games in the playoffs, they're there to kill each other.
Yeah. Great take on SGA. I think if you're going by the eyeball test, to me, he's the most talented. He has the best stats. He's got 2 years under his belt now and still plenty young. I think you make a great point on that. I'm curious to just go a little deeper. And for those of you that don't know Matt, he was on the show last week. He's an ex-player from Gonzaga. And so why is Caitlin Clark the only female you would pay to play? As somebody who clearly knows the game and loves the game, what is it that makes the women's game unwatchable for you?
I mean, nothing against women. I went to high school with the Gatorade National Player of the Year. She was the only girl that I played with that I don't want to say could hang with the dudes, but like just it's the physicality, it's the size. I'm nothing against, obviously. I dated one forever. I respect the game. I love the game. It's just for me the size, athleticism. It's just like, you know, just essentially male versus female, kind of like you were saying about the transgender stuff. It's nothing against their game. There are so many stud female players out there that I think are amazing. It's just for me, the top to bottom, it's just such a big drop off in terms of who the best female players are, and then down to like that, you know, the end of the bench essentially. You know, it's just it wouldn't be
Yeah.
It wouldn't be close.
Again, I think historically the argument was that like I want to watch the best of the best of whatever I'm going to, you know, indulge in, right? And that men were just at a higher level than women. But I feel like Caitlin Clark is the beginning of that, you know, not being true anymore. And Sabrina, and there's others now at the top. They're matching talent for talent, and they're more fundamental. So true fans of the game, I feel like, should be more open-minded to seeing this grow. And to me, the biggest thing that I think we need is women need to be more behind women's sports for it to bring it up and to bring it where I think it can go based on the talent is there.
Hey, Greg, not to cut you off, but I think the thing that differs is even though we love the 3-point ball, the slam dunk is missing. If the ladies were slamming and dunking on people and giving more oohs and ahs, that'll raise the level of, you know, attendance.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, that's a fair point, and we could do a whole nother show on the game and the WNBA. And I just find it like people want to complain about the All-Star game and the NBA regular season, that it's all dunks and no fundamentals. But then at the same time, that's what people want to see, you know, and who sets the standard for what we want to see? You know, there should be some leaders in sports that are kind of defining, you know, what's out there, what's marketed. Let's continue. Let's go to Jason.
Hey, Greg, thanks for having me, man. Hey, I've been a person that, you know, I follow a little women's sports, man. I was put on notice by Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird, and you know those girls came along and they were had that killer instinct just like Caitlin Clark does. They can, you know, them once they got to WNBA, they just get forgotten. Like nobody keeps tabs on them till the end of their career or whatever they're doing now. As far as like covering who's gonna step up, I'm a big guy. You know, I like the big men. You know Kareem, Bill Russell, you know all those guys. But Joel Embiid and Luka, man, and then you got the Joker, man. Those three guys, man. Those are going to be your But Luka is probably going to be your MVP this year. Last year, Joel. Year before that, that was the Joker. So if those guys they keep it up, I think they could carry it. It's an international game. The game spread out more. Big guys are shooting threes. Those three guys can pretty much do everything except Luka. Luka has no defense whatsoever. So he has to step that up. But I think he'll win. I think he'll win MVP by the popular vote and scoring. So, my take about it is the big guys, man. I think the Joker and Joel Embiid can carry it.
Well, Joel, I mean, it's his for the taking if he can stay healthy. He's proven he's got the talent, he's got the personality. Joker doesn't have the personality, in my opinion, to set the culture for the league, to carry the league. He might be the best player in the league and be able to win, but he's not going to define the game, in my opinion, for the next 20 years. He can't be the face of the league, or the league's in trouble. All right, let's go to Will and then Jordan. Go ahead, Will.
Yeah, I think for the women's sport, I think a lot of it's going to come down to marketing. If they really market it well, it could work well. I think, even thinking about basketball with Michael Jordan and that kind of stuff, it wasn't as popular. He kind of brought it back onto the stage, so it's definitely possible. And then I think with marketing comes down to who is going to be the next guy. I think it could be Luka Shea, but the guy no one's mentioned, and I think he has a solid personality for it, is like Anthony Edwards. He's kind of the guy no one's mentioned. I think he has a chance. I was shocked how young he is, actually. He's only 21. So
yeah, the Ant-Man, I definitely think there's something to the Ant-Man's game. He seems to have that killer instinct. He's in a small market town, is one of the things, if I'm like nitpicking why I don't think he's gonna be able to be the face of the league, but he does have that dunking and that killer side to him. Hey, I put the link here in YouTube. Make sure if you're here on Zoom, you're also over on our YouTube watching over there. Every view counts. Our goal is to have our group here having a great content producing and then surge it out to more on YouTube. That's our plan for growing this. And we're going to go over to the YouTube chat and take shares from over there next. So, and if you want to join us, I'll put the Zoom link in the YouTube chat. But let's round it out with Jordan, and then I have another take on this as well. Go ahead, Jordan.
I'm sorry. I have to say this. Okay, I feel like, because I'm a very big supporter of women's sports. I play women's sports, and it's just it's like the only we just look at the perception of women's basketball between men's basketball, and men's basketball is more captivating because yes, they are tall guys. You have 7-footers, 6'10"ers, and they can dunk. And in women's basketball, the tallest girl maybe like 6'8", and and she can still dunk, but not everybody's 6'8", 6'7". A lot of them are like my height, 6'2". But if we're going to talk about skill, like the women's game and the men's game, it's becoming more equal. More women are becoming athletic. More women can do the same the same moves you see in the NBA minus the dunking, but like the acrobatic moves, you can see that in the women's game. And you can first see that, especially in women's college basketball. In women's college basketball, a lot of these girls, especially these young girls, they're getting more athletic. They're getting more creativity. So it's like, I hate when we talk about some of these topics, because sometimes these topics turn into a men versus women's topic. And it's just like, it shouldn't be like that. It should be just playing basketball and basketball, skill for skill. And I feel like skill for skill, the women are coming up. And we have to understand, like, this women's game is still new. It's still in its baby's years. Watch when it's 75 years, like the NBA, and how the NBA. We're comparing to 20-some years of WNBA to over 75 years of NBA. Two different spaces.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And, just to kind of follow up on what you were sharing there, and let's put our hands down. We're going to go into a new topic in a minute. But, Jordan, I feel like sport, like the best sport should appeal to like the every person, the everyman, the everyday person. I should be able to see myself out there playing. And there's plenty of guys that I talk to that don't watch NBA because they're like, it's a bunch of 6'8" like freaks of nature. Like it's if it was like everyday 6-foot people playing, it'd be more popular. And if that's the narrative, if that's what marketing is about, and I think that's another aspect that the women's game brings to us. And it's interesting. And I want to encourage you guys to try more things on here, to try to be a little more outrageous. I'm trying to go there with some of the topics that I'm leading us into today, because this is what makes it fun. Don't hold back. This is what puts it out there. And I'm going to put something out there that, as I look to our election right now, and I'm not a politics guy, but I do get leadership. I'm a sports guy. Leaders is about bringing people together. Bringing people together is what leadership is. And that's what we need in the leaders of our country, the leaders of our sports team, is bringing people together. And I look at the opposite side of leadership is divisive. And I feel like the system, the people at the top, whoever they may be, I'm not really a conspiracy guy, but they're always trying to divide us. They're trying to divide us by what countries we live in, divide us by our race, divide us by our gender. They're trying to get you to see, man and women as something different. And it goes all the way to the Bible. The fact that, the Bible, it positions God as a man. Of course, subconsciously, people are going to believe that men are better than women. And I feel like that it's time for us to recognize real equality and real leadership and real bringing people together. And Caitlin Clark, to me, is in the right place to really bring people together around her game, around she plays basketball with a killer instinct. All right. As we're talking about the surge of women's popularity of sports and women's, perfect segue into Taylor Swift. For our football fans here, for everyone here, I hope we'll have a take on this. Is Taylor Swift good for sports in general is the question that I'm going to put out to you guys. Is she good for football? Is she good for sports? But I'm going to play you a clip that I just saw today before you answer this, and this may persuade you. So I hope you consider yourself open-minded to seeing more sides of more things here today. Let's watch this clip from Taylor Swift that I saw here today that changed what I thought about her. Let's see, why is it on mute here? Okay, let's reload it. Unmute it.
I mean what I'm showing you in a second. But something you need to realize is that God can be anything, especially when Ice Spice was showing us those demonic hand gestures at the Super Bowl and rocking an inverted cross. But just check this clip out.
This is Ice getting an award. Here it comes. Listen close. What the fuck is that? All right. Up until that moment, I would have said Taylor Swift is good for fathers and daughters bonding and more people coming into sports, which is good for sports as a whole. Now that you've seen that, what's your take? All right, we got Blaze and then Jared and then Michael.
We didn't even need to go into that take for me to just blatantly say that there's so much demonic, and that's a whole nother conversation when it comes to a lot of these big megastar celebrities. So that's already that in itself. And of course, with the media, like there's so many ways you could take it. There are so many people that are going to argue with that, where when she shake her head, it's, some people is like, oh, that's so good. And it's like, yes, it is so good. And it's like, that's what she could have been doing. But regardless, there's so much proof. There's so many facts that you can go on into witchcraft, into a lot of that stuff. But again, different conversation. Now, if we're just talking sports and from a business standpoint, from business, not a moral standpoint, anything, from a business standpoint, it's clearly any celebrity that's invested that has that type of star power is good for the game because they get more eyes on it. I don't know exactly what that number is, but it's a staggering stat of how many more people watch football games that Taylor Swift is at. And most of them obviously are women and don't know nothing about football, but it's more eyes on the product. So from a business standpoint, there's that. But from a moral standpoint, like I sometimes wish like I'm like my girlfriend and she sees things in these rainbow colored glasses when it comes to celebrities. It's ruined for me. I see Super Bowl performances and halftime performances and I see all the symbolism. I'm like, why do I have to be woke?
All right, Blaze makes great points about from the business standpoint. Of course, Taylor Swift is good, bringing more eyeballs. So let's kind of take that off the table. I think that's a given. I'm really interested from you and me. We're the fans. We're the people that the game is played for. Is Taylor Swift's involvement good or bad for us? Let's go to Michael and then Jared and then Hassan. Go ahead, Michael.
Sure. To me, as an NFL football fan, I did not want anything to do with Taylor. I'll be completely honest. It was shoved down my throat constantly, daily on First Take, on Pat McAfee, on all these shows. It was about Taylor when I really just wanted to focus on football and the sport itself. I was turning into an anti-Chiefs fan just because it was getting to a point where after every play Travis Kelce would make, or after every play Pat Mahomes would make, they would pan over to Taylor Swift. I'm like, she's great and all, and she brings all that marketability, brings the young female audience in, but I just wanted it to stick to the football game itself.
Fair points. All right. I think a lot of America is with you and being anti-Chiefs fans because of her. All right, let's go to Jared and then Hassan.
I personally think I agree with Blaze and Michael a little bit. I think for the business standpoint, like Blaze said, Taylor Swift is definitely bringing in a lot of revenue for the Chiefs franchise and bringing in more women fans to the game of football. And to what Michael said, I mean, I don't really mind Taylor Swift, to be honest. I'll be honest, I'm a Swiftie. I like her music. I'll listen to it. You know, she doesn't bother me. She's not doing anything wrong. So they show her for 5 to 10 seconds. Who cares? Like, they're just showing a replay of the play anyways. You're not missing anything important. You know, I personally think if the game is boring, I'm going to listen to it in the background and be on my phone. You know, I was like that for the Super Bowl. You know, the Super Bowl for the first half, it was completely boring. I was on my phone and listening at the same time. Does it really matter if they show Taylor Swift or not, or any other celebrity? No, I don't care. You're not going to miss anything anyways. And to be honest, she has that power to just convince a whole population, a whole group of Swifties just like that, because she is the biggest singer in the world right now and has been for the last few years, ever since she's gone on that Eras tour. So that's the power that Taylor Swift has in this world. And I don't really think it affects the game. You're not missing anything anyways. You're really not.
So it's not really affecting the game, and she's bringing more people to the game. I think those are Jared's good points that are out there. Awesome. Thank you, Jared. Let's go to Hassan and then Yolanda and then Vincent.
All right, I'm gonna be with Michael and Blaze on this side of the line. This side of the line drawn in the sand about Taylor Swift. That video you shared with us, this is the first time I've ever seen that in my entire life, and that's because I don't follow Taylor Swift. I'm not a fan. I don't listen to the music, but I respect the people who are Swifties, who listen to the music. I got friends who do. I got friends who are both Swifties and NFL fans. Fine. Same thing with religion. You know, believe what you want to believe. Just don't hurt anybody. What do I care? I'm in my space. You have fun in yours. But as far as being, you want to talk anti-Chiefs. I'm born and raised here in Buffalo, New York. So we had Taylor come here the divisional round, Chiefs versus Bills. And while Bills Mafia is what it is at a preseason home or playoff game, I saw a fever pitch I had never seen before. And I've been watching football ever since Super Bowl 25, Bills versus Giants. That was the first football game I ever watched in my entire life. I think what Taylor does for the game, yeah, it's going to pay dividends like it's been paying dividends. More people are watching, Chiefs gear selling, but I I could care less about Swift being in it or being
I love
involved.
hearing
She's
your
got a
take from
boyfriend.
from the Buffalo standpoint, since you guys had her in town then. So, because I think that's the pressing point is that fever pitch, is it good for the game and for us fans? Obviously, it's going to be more revenue, but is it good for us or not? Or is it, people coming for the wrong reasons and somehow not good for us? I don't know. Like I didn't
You
agree,
know,
with that.
really quickly, just 10 seconds. I mean, it's tough for me to say here in this region, in this market, because the Bills are everything around here. So, like, for us, so what if Taylor Swift came here or not? I mean, it's always going to be Bills football. So I can't speak for other football cities.
Gotcha. All right, great take. We're going to Yolanda and then Vincent and then Steve and then Cameron will close us out. Go ahead, Yolanda.
Okay, so listen, for me, being a football fan, I was a fan way before Taylor Swift came into town and way after she switched her ass right on out of town. I honestly believe that I first of all, I have nothing against her. I have nothing against her. But to be a fan, her having that 5-10 seconds on screen or not is not going to justify if I'm going to watch the game or not. The NFL is already a multi-billion dollar industry. If she's bringing an extra $100 million to it, who cares? If they're a $1 billion industry, they were making money way before she got here. But me personally, as a fan, there are so many other celebrities that are at the game. There are so many wives of other players that are at the game that we never see of. And all of a sudden the Swifties show up because she's here. We want to talk about the revenue it brought, but let's talk about like fans like me that it turned us off and that we didn't want to be bothered. And it's like if the Chiefs were playing, oh, I'm going to skip that game. Good thing for the Sunday ticket because I don't have to watch them because I don't need to see her on my screen. And I don't think it was good for the fans. And honestly, I think in the next few months, this relationship, whatever it was, will fizzle out and we won't even see her next football season.
Are you predicting a breakup between
I am.
and Kelsey?
I am.
Oh, that would really have everybody going. What about if she cheated on him with Mahomes? Then we'd have like the ultimate saga, right?
Oh, I'm all
that would be must-see TV for that. I would be all over that.
She can't make up her mind anyways, so what does it make a difference?
Hey, let's
I'm
get a little bit of
DVRing. I'm
football
DVRing all that
I'm
drama.
sure the song has already been written.
Yeah, right? Travis is going to wind up in a song. That's a good one.
It's going to be about Cleveland, where I'm from, and then I'm going to have to hear it all the time about how bad Cleveland is.
She'll probably go back to her hometown Eagles then. All right, we got Vincent and then Steve and then Cameron on the Taylor Swift effect. Go ahead, Vincent.
I think it's good and bad. Good side, I think she's the greatest gimmick ever used by the NFL. She brought in $100 million for business. That's great because you didn't have to pay for it. Just put it on screen for 5 seconds. Yolanda said she wouldn't watch the Chiefs games, but she already bought an NFL ticket, so they didn't lose any money with her. And then on the flip side, I think it's bad because we like to move on fast, so we get tired of seeing Taylor Swift. Now the NFL has to find a new gimmick. What's going to be next? That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah. And my thing I'm not real preachy about my religion, but I believe in God and Jesus. And if the 5 seconds is going to be things like this scene, supposedly right now, like you're crossing into stuff that I don't really want in the game or in kids being. Not to mention she chugs a beer in this scene too, right? Which as much as me and the guys might do that at football, and there's some debate if that makes her cool or if that's inappropriate for women of her age to just be chugging a beer in this scene too.
And I add on to that, on the flip side, me being a Christian, grew up a PK, it's definitely like they say, you hear about the witchcraft, Illuminati stuff, how person of her influence, she's the 5th most powerful woman in the world. It comes with a lot of negative stuff, but in this world, you'll never get away from it.
My parlays barely work out at all. I don't need any cursing on top of it. I don't need any witchcraft going against me. All right, go
Greg,
to
can I
Steve.
just chime in real quick? Because you made a good point there when you were talking about her chugging the beer, and then when the outlash came out there about that. And that was another reason why I think she's not good for the fans of football, because Taylor Swift brings a lot of the younger crowd, underage women or young ladies rather. And, to see her drink a beer and then their parents is outraged. This is a grown ass woman. She can drink a beer. So if you cannot have your daughter watch a football game now because Taylor, oh my God, put alcohol in her mouth, that's another problem within itself.
Yeah. Great point.
Taylor's bigger than the NFL itself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not just a movie quote. Great power come great responsibility. Is what it is.
All right, we're on Steve, and then Cameron's going to close us out on this. Go ahead, Steve.
You made a good point there. My favorite part about her being there, living in Las Vegas, was the easy props I could bet on, like the over/under on how many times she was going to show up on screen. That was easy money. But the truth of the matter is, she's good for the NFL because she gets more eyes, they get more money. She's bad for the fans because wherever she goes, it's going to drive up ticket prices because the Swifties are going to come in. They're going to be.
Good point.
They'll pay any price to be anywhere in the same vicinity as she is, and then the real fans can't even get to the games. The real fans want to see football. They don't want to see Taylor.
It's a football game, not a Taylor Swift
football.
concert.
Yeah, but the Swifties don't care about football. They just care about Taylor.
Very good point there. All right, Cameron, close us out on this.
Yeah, so I think it's this is what happens when you get into mainstream media, especially the most popular of the popular stars, right? Taylor's got, I think, 100 monthly listeners on Spotify. That's number 2. So she's moving a big crowd. So for the NFL, that's good. It spiked the sales. It's the media overexposing and just as someone alluded earlier, shoving it down our throat. It's what the media and all this, it's what they want to hear. It's what they can cover. I liked it at first. I ain't gonna lie. Like the first week, I was like, "Oh, cool! Swift's at the game." It gave me something to talk about with my mom. Now she wants to watch the football game. But after a few weeks of seeing it, I get a little tired. I want a new story now.
Yeah,
it's the media industrial complex.
And like when I watch an NBA game, they show celebrities on TV all the time. I like that. It's just I don't want to see the same celebrity over and over again.
You get one show usually on the NBA. They'll show you one time at the NBA All-Star game, not over and over again, like they were doing there. And look, up until these clips, and I obviously watched the Super Bowl and didn't even notice any of that happening in the Super Bowl, this demonic stuff. And then I found out about that one was from the award show. I don't watch award shows. So now all that came to me after this. Before that, I was in favor of Taylor Swift. That, more daughters coming to the game means more future wives coming to the game. Like, as a single guy who's a diehard sports fan, it's like my dating pool of women that follow our hardcore sports is a smaller pool to find. And I would love for that to grow. I would love for that to grow for me and for other men and for a next generation of kids to grow up where men and women both follow sports equally. So I was pro all of it until it crossed into this demonic stuff where I am with things. So awesome takes on that. And this is going to segue us into this next section. Remember, at the top of the hour at 9, we tip off for our college basketball game of the night. It is Houston, who's ranked number 3 versus Iowa State. The game's on ESPN. That reminds me, we should all pull that up on our television and have it there. Please make sure you're following our YouTube channel as well, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And I'm going to have everyone I'll put the link here to the YouTube channel in the chat again, in case anyone missed it or just joined us. And if you could put into the YouTube chat again right now, who your favorite team is. Can be basketball, football, whatever your primary sport is. Although I think we're going to focus this next session on football because we have been talking a lot of basketball here. So put in who your favorite football team is, unless you don't follow football, into the YouTube chat over there. And here's what we're going to do in this next segment. I thought this would be a fun segment where, especially since, I'm single and we were talking about dating, I'm trying to segue from segment to segment. what I would love to know is what's it like dating a fan of blank, your team, right? So I'll do mine here. I'm a Patriots fan, right? I'm from Boston. So you're gonna in your take, you're gonna tell me what's it like dating a fan of the Patriots is what I would do, and you'll do your team. And again, we want to make these funny. We want to make these like what are the things a person really needs to know, and really try to self-reflect on yourself as a fan. And I'll just do mine kind of here as a Patriots fan. So if someone was asking me, what's it like to date someone who is a Patriots fan? I would tell them, well, we've been on top for the last 20 years. So we kind of expect the best of the best. And when we are losing, we don't tolerate that very long. We think we can just tank for 1 year and draft a quarterback, and we're going to rule the league for the next 20 years again. And another thing you should know about dating a Patriots fan is that if we ever get accused of cheating, we never admit to anything, and we will accept the punishment, but still not admit to anything. And really, cheating's not really a thing. We just say that's something everybody does. And really, the most important thing you need to know about being a Patriots fan, and I'd love to hear the most important thing for fans of your teams, is our whole dynasty started on one play. It was the Tom Brady tuck play. And if you don't really understand sports, all you need to know is that what we do in New England is we look for any technicality that can win us the game, even if the rule makes no sense. And that's what it's going to be like dating someone from Boston. But one thing you'll never have to worry about is we're not into any younger person coming along or anything like that. We're all about achievement and lifetime. So if you're ever worried about, like me, looking at a younger woman, you don't have to worry about that, because all we do is talk shit about the younger people that are kind of trying to come after our records here. All right, so that's my take on what you would want to know. So imagine a friend of yours, it could be a female friend or a male friend, is asking you, hey, I'm going to date someone who's a fan of this team. What would you say to them to make it funny for them to know about you dating someone from your team? All right, we're going to go first to Vincent and then to Jordan in this segment. Go ahead, Vincent.
Well, to start it off, I think I have a pretty unique view on things. My hometown team is the Texans. It's also the same team that I played for my rookie year. So I was looking up to date a girl who loved the Texans. And for me, it was cool. I thought, cool, you're really into the team, but when you break up and move on, she still sticks around with the team. So that's my experience.
Yeah. So, but if someone who didn't know anything about football said, what do I'm in love with this guy who's a Texan fan. What's a few things I need to know? And what's a typical Texan fan like? Like,
Okay.
do they go for massages a lot in Texas, or like,
Yeah, they love to take care of the bodies out here for sure. Definitely you got to start with the food. I mean, you're in Texas, you want to get the briskets, want to get the barbecues. You got Turkey Leg Hut right down the street. So all Texans fans know how to get you with the good food. You're gonna start there, and then it's kind of one of those places where people don't think a lot. When you think of Texas, you think of the Dallas Cowboys, but every Texans fan knows that the Houston Texans are better than the Cowboys at the end of the season. So great point. And you always start out the season with your hopes a little low, get to the playoff, you do something great, but you just never know. You're never going to make it to the big game. So being a Texans fan doesn't hurt, but it's not great.
Yeah, I would say, especially if you're like looking to date a guy who like has a lot of potential. Like he looks like he's gonna be great. Now, a lot of times those things don't turn out in dating, right? People just are what they are in dating. But in sports, like if you're the kind of person that likes to get in on somebody early, I think this would be a good time to support Houston, and you'd like a Houston guy if you see the potential in people. Awesome, great takes there, Vincent. We're going next to Jordan, and then Will, and then Jason. Jordan, start with telling us who your team is, and then what's it like to date someone from this team? What do I need to know before I date someone from this team?
All I'm gonna say is, how about down Cowboys, America's team, straight up. Yes, we going to the Super Bowl next year, 2025. Let's get it. How about them Cowboys? We in it. I don't care. We gonna stay true and true, down and hard, bleeding blue, baby, over here. Bleeding blue, baby, over here. Listen, if you gonna date somebody who gonna be a Cowboys fan, listen, when we up, we the best friend, we love you. But when the Cowboys game lose, we gonna be a little bit depressed. We gonna be depressed. Don't talk to me right now. We gonna be depression. It's okay. It may last for me. It lasts me for like that night, and I'll be good. For other people, it lasts for like that next week, that next Sunday. They'll come through. But like, listen, we got the rings, baby. Like, we beautiful. You look at the stadium, look at the cheerleaders, look even the practice stadium. You know, we got them 5 rings on them, 5 rings on them. So we come prepared up in here. And let's be honest, even though they think we never will find a great 88 after Drew Pearson. Oh, we got Michael Irvin. Oh, after Michael Irvin, we couldn't find one. Oh, we had Des Bryant. Oh, after Des Bryant left, look, we got CeeDee Lamb. So even though we get shot down, we come back right up again. We always gonna win at the end of the day because we are them Cowboys.
Yeah. What comes to mind for me with the Cowboys is like a typical guy. I'm trying to make a metaphor of what would a guy would be like as a Cowboys fan. Like he's probably somebody who's living on his past, and probably somebody who has a meddling father who's always telling him what you should do. That's what you're going to be expecting. They do have great cheerleaders, so I guess it's a town where you're okay with letting your guy look at the cheerleaders, right? That's allowed in in Cowboy land. You know, of course, in Boston, they love to remind us that the Celtics were the last team to not have cheerleaders or dancers because women in Boston don't tolerate that. What else with the guy? Oh, and what is it? Hey, this is something you really got to explain to me. Imagine I don't know football at all. What is this? Here we go. Here we go. Like what why does he say that every play?
Because it's their cadence. It's his
So they get
cadence.
locked in, so
It's
they're
the
ready to
cadence of
go.
him starting to play. Like, here I go. So he's trying to make the other team go offside.
You tell them that's the
That's all.
first.
He's trying to set
It's
them
on
up. He's trying
one.
to set
It's
the
on
other
one.
people up.
Yeah, it's instead of hike. I just, I'm thinking of things that to like a person who barely knows football has got to be one.
I mean, he got to find a way to make himself stand out. You want to feel like Peyton Manning with the Omaha, but you just don't get the ring at the end of the year. So,
All right.
How's that first round exit of the Texans doing, Vincent?
Woo!
well,
Right, we'll come
they
back around. We'll come back
overachieved
around. We're going
instead of
to
underachieved.
Will and then Jason. So, Will, tell us who your team is and what are some things we need to know about dating someone from this team.
You know who my team is, Greg. You want to tell everyone?
I know I do know your football team, but go ahead.
The Browns.
Cleveland.
So,
You work in Cleveland Browns in every conversation. You're famous for that.
so I would say don't make any poop jokes because that's like super common. Browns going to the Super Bowl. Take the Browns to the Super Bowl. We've heard all those. I would say like they were bought out by someone better, someone bigger. So the person was bought out, they were kind of sold a little bit. I would talk about don't be surprised if they start barking because for some reason they think they're a dog pound. So don't be surprised if they just start barking.
They
at
identify. I
everyone.
heard this about people identifying as cats and dogs. Browns fans identify as dogs.
Yeah, and then I would say they like trying new things. So, like the Browns love trying new quarterbacks, so they love trying new things. They try someone new every year, so don't be surprised. Even if you are a great person, they might leave you for somebody else who, looking
They
back,
have
isn't even as
commitment
good.
issues. Yeah.
Commitment issues. That's a better way of putting it. Yeah, and then they think that they're the only person for you. So they think that they're the only team in Ohio. We don't like talking about any other teams in Ohio. And then definitely don't mention that team, that woman from up north in wherever Pittsburgh is, up west. Don't mention that. Don't mention them. So yeah.
Yeah, I would say, you know, in terms of bringing in Deshaun, like you guys tend to look the other way on a lot of things. Like apparently your past indiscretions don't matter at all. Like you think you're going to be the one to change this guy and get him to settle down and finally be good for you all. Yeah, it was interesting. You started with saying how the team was bought by another owner, right? Is that's yeah, it's kind of like you guys had a sugar daddy, I would say. All right, this is entertaining and good stuff here. Let's go to Jason and then Steve. Go ahead, Jason. Who's your team, and what does someone need to know about dating someone from that city?
Hey, it's all about the Niners over here. One of your biggest East Coast 49ers fans. What you're gonna like about us is, mild-mannered, not too crazy. We go back to the past as well as Giants. I'm Giants. I mean not Giants. Cowboys. Sorry. We got 5 rings. We talk about the greats. Nobody's going to be better than Joe. Nobody's going to be better than Steve. Nobody's going to be better than Jerry Rice. Once you refer to that, you're good to go. No matter what anybody says, the team is not full of gay men or any kind of homosexuality. They're players. They play the game. I've heard it all. Oh man, you're a 49er fan. You must be with them. I'm like, no. I'm married. She's a Giants fan, but I give her that. But if you want to keep you keep a 49er fan entertained, talk about the what's going on in the moment. We had a good run. I mean, I'm not a person to say they cheated on us or they did this or did that. We lost the game. We got to take it. I think we can come back next year stronger. Just keep it like that. We're simple. I'm a simple guy. I get intense when we lose, but other than that, man, it's pretty much. I'm pretty good over on this side.
Yeah, so a 49ers fan, this would be another franchise that's kind of living off their past and has been close but no cigar for a while now. I feel like they keep trying to win, but the most important position, quarterback, they kind of are like cheap out at. So if we were drawing a metaphor of like what to expect in a guy you might date, like that would be like he's gonna cheap out on where he takes you and stuff. But if you don't mind that, then this is the team in the city for you.
Well, from what I see, the last pick is the best pick right now. So hey, be a good date. So
that's a good angle too. They do have a thing where they take the guy who's picked dead last and are able to turn him into something worth taking. So if this guy you're thinking of dating is seems like he's like last pick in the dating pool, you might be able to find a diamond in the rough with him with that. What would you say? What's the emotion that 49er fans have felt the most these past 10 or 20 years?
Well, I would say, man, that's like the roughest, the low point was, I would say, man, starting Mike Singletary was low. Like that was low. Him coaching Chip Kelly. Oh man, we've been through some bad times, man. It's I mean, Kaepernick took us to a kind of like a pinnacle. We were good there. Then it just kind of wandered back down again. But now we're back. I see some good upside. I'm glad they got CMC. That kid's like a savior for us. Kittle's pretty animated. I like our defense. Hoping we talk the other Bosa into coming over here. So
no, he's off the field. He's off the field more than he plays. We don't need, I'm a 49er fan as well, but we don't need his brother. He doesn't barely play. That's why they don't want him. So why do they need to come over here? We don't need to be paying a man sitting on a bench.
He goes so hard.
No,
for the team. He can take a load off on this one. His brother is got, we got the best linebackers in the league. I mean, why not, take a chance and like let that kid flourish on the other side,
Yeah. All right. So interesting takes there for Jason and the 49ers. We're going to Steve and then Blaze and then Michael. Steve, who's your team and what do I need to know about dating someone from this team or city?
Well, first of all, it needs to be pointed out that you should never date a Patriots fan because they have unusual ways of looking at cheating. So you certainly don't want to be involved with anyone who roots for the Patriots. Now, I'm a Bengals fan, and the thing about dating a Bengals fan is two of the most important things is one is we have low expectations, and two is we're used to disappointment. So when you put those two things together, you have a very, very easy person to date. And you know what? And it's still preferable to being a Browns fan. Sorry.
You still look down on your little brother sometimes.
We still look down on the Browns for sure.
Yeah.
And
What
the
about the
Ravens.
city there? I feel like if you're going to date a Bengals fan, you got to be okay with putting like chili on your pasta and some things like that, right?
All right, I'm Italian. Don't even say that to me again, or else I'm gonna have to come down to Boston and we're gonna have to have a talk.
Isn't
You
that
don't
a
put chili
Cincinnati
on
thing,
pasta.
though? Isn't that a Cincinnati thing?
Actually, I'm not from Cincinnati. I'm from New
okay.
York originally. I live in Vegas, but I started watching football at a young age, and the Bengals were the first expansion team to make it to the playoffs in their first 2 years. They had Kenny Anderson and they had Isaac Curtis, and it was just they were a fun, great team to watch with that explosive offense. So I became that. And growing up in New York, I was also a Boston Bruins fan. So in the hockey season, I'd be rooting for the Bruins, and then baseball season would come about, and I'd be fighting with all the Red Sox fans. So guys who were my best buddies during hockey season were my worst enemies during baseball season.
That's so interesting. The teams, to hear you fall in love with that Kenny Anderson Bengals team that fell just short to Joe Montana. That says a lot. You must identify with that.
Yeah, Joe Montana, I cannot stand him. I wish nothing but the worst possible things for him in his life.
I feel like, as an 80s guy, the most glamorous team in that era was the Chargers, man.
Dan Fouts, Air Coryella.
Yeah, so that's why I hate the Bengals, because I wanted Air Coryell to go all the way, and I couldn't believe the Bengals
beat them.
But it
at
got
their
so
own
cold.
game.
I think you really got to love the cold to be a Cincinnati fan.
Yeah, I've been there in the cold, so other than that, I'm a Giants fan, but you gotta stay true to who your real teams are, and that would be the Bengals and the Bruins, the Knicks, and the Yankees.
All right. We're going next to Blaze. This looks like a Miami take. This ought to be good.
You know it's going to be good. The first thing you have to do, if you're going to date someone that's from Miami, you better be ready to have some fun. You better be ready to have some fun. We in Miami, baby. They know how to have fun. They know how to party. The turn up is always real. So that's one. Two, you have to have a lot of patience because a Miami fan will be completely annoying and aggravating because we got excuses for everything. You want to know why? Because it's the facts. We're only losing because we got all these injuries. It's terrible. It's the injuries. Had we not been injured, we'd be Super Bowl champions right now. But that's neither here nor there. Neither here nor there. And then there's that stereotype. There's that, the doll freaky thing. And like, Miami fans are most likely to sleep around and things of that nature. It's facts. It's not a stereotype. It's facts. So you have to understand that her ex, she's going to have a lot of exes. There's going to be a lot of them, a lot of partners. And you have to find some type of, peace with that. And we're very, very passionate about our teams. We're very, very passionate. So if you're on the football spectrum of things, we don't care for the Cowboys. They're the ops, and that's just the way that it is. You guys are the ops. We wish nothing but straight failure for that franchise. That's just the way that it is. And if they're on the basketball side, we cannot stand the Celtics. You are the ops. So your take on if you guys date a Miami chick. You can't be friends with Greg. You can't. Not gonna happen.
Oh, don't say that. I live in
We
Florida.
ready for the ops.
Some
We ready for the
possible, man.
opposite Cowboys, man. We ready for them ops.
Yeah,
Come
oh,
on, come
yeah.
on.
Blaze, I gotta ask: is it fun being a Miami fan and losing to a team with a winning record every single time? Because whether it's the Bills in your division or any other team with a winning record, injuries or not, you still cannot get it done.
I'm trying to see which game that we played against a winning team and we didn't have an injury. I just need you to name me one.
I mean,
Everybody has
your
injuries.
defense was injured a lot. I will admit that, but even
Yes.
then, injuries aside, you can't beat a good team, brother.
Yeah,
Can't
but
do
just
it.
remember one thing: the only person so far to beat Mahomes in a playoff game outside of Tom Brady is Joe Burrow. Bengals all the
This is
way,
true.
baby.
Well, Miami, one thing I particularly think you would need to know about a Miami fan is that they hold everyone to this standard of perfection. In fact, they pop champagne to celebrate when other people fail. Like, what kind of
Facts.
person does that
I'm a
in
Miami
life,
fan.
right?
Miami doesn't like cold weather.
And
Oh.
living in Miami, I always feel like there's basically three kinds of people that live in Miami. You got the Spanish people, you got the older people, retired people, and the naked people. If you don't fit in with any of those three groups, you're not going to fit in with Miami, the city. Somehow these Dolphins fans are like, that's the city of Miami, but then there's the Dolphins fans spread out through the whole state of Florida.
Yes.
I lived in Tampa the last 20 years. I can't believe how many Dolphins fans are over there as well. So, all right, let's go next to Michael and then Hassan. Go ahead, Michael.
So I'll say this, unfortunately, I am a Washington Commanders fan / Redskins fan. So what that means, I don't want to see anything about Cowboys because y'all had the same amount of success as us in the past 20 so years. So I don't want to hear any of that. But I'll say this about dating a Commanders fans means that they will be loyal to you and they're easy to accept heartbreak. So they will help you pack the bags when it's ready to be all said and done. So I think that they're ready to move on to the next just as quickly as you are. And when things on the opposite side point, things don't work out after 6 weeks, 6 games, they're going to keep a side eye on a shiny new toy or a shiny new thing. So if like the Detroit Lions or the Cinderella story, we might be looking, oh, what can we do that can be just like them? So we'll try to keep one eye on the product, another eye on something new.
Yeah, and Snyder at the top there.
I don't want that man's name is out of my vocabulary. I'm not talking about that man anymore.
Well, you guys live with that level of ownership for a long time. That's got to say something about
loyalty. That's the number one thing is that loyalty. We will be loyal.
He had money, I think.
But it was not great money. I mean, he spent that money in ways that we didn't even need. I mean, the stadium needed renovations and everything else, and he did not care for that. He did not care for the fans or anything. So we do not like that man. He is someone that we erased from our minds and our history books.
Yeah, so I feel like if we're trying to build a comedy skit around what a fan would be like to date, we would say that this is a guy who's going to try to control you with his money. He doesn't really care what's in your best interest at all, but he'll buy you a shiny toy, get you a new life coach, so you can fix yourself and you can fix the problem there. But in the end, I think Washington has like a woman in charge now there, right?
No, I mean, we got Josh Harris now. He just hired Adam Peters from the 49ers. So thank you, 49ers. That's a new
They have a
shiny
new
toy.
owner. Yeah, they have a new owner.
So the 76ers owner is now our owner, which hopefully I don't want to go through the same process as Philadelphia because, I mean, that took a long time for them to become successful, but we shall see.
All right, let's go to Hassan and then Jared. Go ahead, Hassan.
All right. Well, this is Buffalo, home of the Bills and the fan base that is Bills Mafia. I'm going to try to take the high road here and acknowledge that, while the Jets didn't their season didn't work out this year. We see you over there in New Jersey, not the state of New York. So there's that. Also, on behalf of Western New York, we want to give a big special thanks to Miami Dolphins. We couldn't have won that AFC title without you. Thank you. We appreciate it. It was yours. We hope you. It looked like you treated the title well until that last week, and where you handed it over to us. And kudos to the Patriots. Franchise did very well over the last 20 years, but as far as we're concerned over here in this part of the country, Super Bowl 42 is the greatest football game we had ever seen. And Patriots fans know why. But if you want to date a Bills fan, always remember that, like many other passionate fan bases out there, we're loyal ourselves in our own right. We have pretty good health care up here, because why else would we jump through tables? And we also need good psychiatric care every time we come up short at the end of the season. Josh Allen is God around here, but I will admit he makes us nervous every time he tries to be a hero, which is every week. But we love the roller coaster up here. We got plenty of beer and chicken wings to hold us over. So you will be well fed and well taken care of by a loyal fan base.
Yeah, I feel like because of the great kickers you guys have had in Buffalo, you got to have a lot of trust issues dating someone from Buffalo, right? There's
Too
got to
soon.
be
Too soon. We weren't looking for another wide left or right kick.
I mean,
No,
that's
too
almost
soon.
there's got to be some deeply rooted trauma in there. There's something about a city that likes to claim it invented the buffalo wing just because your name is Buffalo. I feel like if we were putting that into a guy, this is going to be a guy you date who like takes credit for a lot of things that he didn't necessarily invent a lot of ideas.
We have yet to been called out formally, so we're going to ride that one till the wheels fall off.
And there's got to be something about Josh Allen in there. I mean, if we're going to describe him as a type of person you date, it's like so talented, but just so like reckless.
Watch out for the throw up.
Hey, a reckless guy keeps you on your toes, keeps your head on
Yeah,
the
but he
swivel.
can't perform when it matters.
That's something that that's the unspoken thing. Like I said, the hero ball, it's a double-edged sword.
All right, we're going to Jared.
I would just like to point out that if I'm not mistaken, I think Joey B has a win over him as well.
That's also too soon, Steve. Too soon.
Petty.
All right, go ahead, Jared.
Jordan, how about them Cowboys? America's team. We are America's team because outside the Chiefs, we are the best team in the NFL. We provide entertainment and revenue for the NFL, plain and simple. And let's be honest, I'm from Cleveland. I have watched terrible Cleveland football pretty much all my life up until the last 3 years. So I had to go to the team that was on national television the most time. And the team that was good most of the time. And that was the Cowboys growing up. And they still are to this day. I've watched them since I was 8 years old, and I've been a fan ever since. I got my Cowboys hat, my Cowboys blanket. I'm watching Jason Witten, Miles Austin, Tony Romo in 2008, and I'm like, yes, I am sold because it's way better than Derek Anderson, Peyton Hillis, and all these other terrible players that the Browns have had. So as a Cowboys fan, if you're going to date us, you should know that we're going to be two-faced. We're going to be happy and excited for the first half. And then by the second half, we're going to be sad and depressed, especially if it's in the playoffs. You never know. You never know. I mean, Jordan said most of it, but that's part of it. And then we expect everything to be given to us by Jerry Jones, who we claim as our leader, but can't do his job to save his life. But we expect him to give us what we want, and that is another ring. But he can't seem to get it right after all these years. I don't know if it's his hair that he's losing or what. Maybe he got hit too many times at Arkansas. I don't know. But at the end of the day, we expect everything being given to us. And we just, if things aren't going right, we just keep believing and keeping hoping that it's going to work out with the players we have on our team. And that all starts with, here we go, Dak Prescott.
Well, let me just ask you a quick question, though. Did Tony Romo ever actually win a playoff game?
He didn't, but he was the entertainment. He was the entertainment for us.
It was
I have another
entertainment for
question.
everyone else watching him lose all those playoff games.
The Bengals were the same way until they got Joe Burrow.
Oh, Bengals were not the same way. They made it to 2 Super Bowls and then they collapsed. Joe Montana beat us in 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah, that was years ago, though. I'm talking about in the last 20 years.
Yeah, we didn't.
And
we
T.O.
couldn't-
was the entertainment.
We were
T.O.
feeling the same pain when we had the Red Rocket, who got us to the playoffs and then collapsed every time. It was like having Tony Romo.
And then he wound up going to the Cowboys, didn't he?
I loved it. It was so perfect.
That was a good connection for you guys.
What I do gotta say about the Cowboys fans though is yes, Tony Romo won 2 playoff games, but look, I NFC East I don't care anything about, but I gotta give it to the Commanders, the Washington football team, whatever you want to call it, other than their name, which I think is absolutely terrible. At least they got ownership. At least they're putting people who know what they're gonna do. Texans have a better record in the last 20 years of existence than the Cowboys have. The Commanders are gonna win a Super Bowl before the Cowboys do. Jerry Jones is not going to see another Super Bowl. I hate to be the one to tell y'all, but the Commanders.
Jerry Jones is going to figure it out. He just has to find another play in the playbook.
Commanders will have more playoff success than the Cowboys. I'm calling it now.
Jordan almost put a hit out on you.
Everybody want to be like the Dallas Cowboys. We always copy the Dallas Cowboys. Let's just be honest.
What were the Commanders? 4-13?
Yeah, but at least they have somebody who knows what they're doing running the show. It's not old man Jerry just I'll take you, and you look like you'd be good at number 88. We'll go with CD Lamb when you're already stacked with the receiver. So
I would be shocked if the Commanders make the playoffs for the playoff game.
Not with the Cowboys anymore, however that is. Which I wish.
I know CD is way better than Scary Terry. Let's not try it. CD is way better than Scary Terry.
Bad upon anyone, but as long as he's around, the Cowboys will not have better playoff success than the Commanders. I guarantee it.
All right, we heard it here.
Coach every 3 years.
Put it up as a proposition. We can all bet on it. All right, we're on Yolanda.
Yes. Hey. So, well, as you heard from Jason, the highs and the lows of the 49ers. I've been a 49er fan since 1978, the Steve DeBerg days. So even before Joe Montana came. So I done seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. But what I would say, if you are dating a 49er fan, is, we're known by the bang, bang Niner gang. So having said that, we bang, bang, but we shoot a lot of blanks. So if we're getting together and we might want to have a little 49er family, it may be a possibility that might not happen. Also, if you're dating a 49er fan, one of the things you have to look at, we are the tip of the success, and that's just it, the tip. We can never finish. So we might get you to the tip, and then we might have to leave you hanging. So you have to be able to be prepared and be able to have self-preservation or something to make up for that tippity tip and not finishing the job. Also, we can call you our girl or our man, but not necessarily. We're the San Francisco 49ers. We're in a whole nother city. We're in Santa Clara. Who in the hell is Santa Clara? We're not even in San Francisco anymore. So if you're dating us, and we might say you are San Francisco, and you might be, but realistically, we might be looking at LA. We might be looking at San Diego. We might even have Sacramento in the queue. Who knows? But just don't believe that you're that person because we say you're that person.
And it's not just dating either. It's like you got to be careful what city you raise your kids in, because those kids are going to grow up fans of that team. I've learned that the hard way, being from Boston, but raising my kids in Tampa. They're Bucks fans, and that comes with a certain level of torture to it. When you're
listen, as long as they're not. Well, I can't even say this out loud because my husband's a Raiders fan, but as long as they're not Raiders fans, our house is divided over here. My husband's a Raider fan. Our twins are San Diego LA Charger fans now. Me and my middle son are 49er fans, and then my oldest son is a Cowgirl fan. So we're all over the spectrum in this house.
That's a house full of fights.
Man, you let talk about the Raiders like that, right?
Right? It's like its own mini tournament. Wow. Let's see. I think we heard from almost everyone here. Sharon, what about you? What's it like dating a Saints fan? What do you need to know about a Saints fan?
Well, I mean, it all comes with the food. It starts with the food. You get up for breakfast, you got to go get beignets, you got to go to lunch, you got to talk about the game, you got to get hype, you got to get prepared.
I hear that's why Zion Williams is so out of shape all the time. 'Cause the food is so good.
We don't talk about that.
Aaron, I have to ask you, what is a beignet? What is the secret to a beignet? And where's like the place to go in New Orleans to get a beignet?
Oh, Cafe Du Monde, of course. Cafe Du Monde. And they took out one of our stores off of Severn that I used to go as a kid. I think it was like 50 years old and they just closed it. But they did out a new one on Veterans, but they still have the original in the French Quarter, so you're good there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think being from New Orleans and everything, to date somebody from New Orleans, you got to be ready to dance, you got to be ready to eat, you got to be ready to meet the family. Yeah, just enjoy the show. Be friendly to people around you. Everybody's considered family. Have a good time. And when we get to Who-Dats, you got to say Who-Dat.
Yeah, what does
You got
that
to go with
mean?
the Who-Dats.
And why do the Bengals start saying that?
They say Who-Day.
Who
They
day
don't
and
say
who
Who-Dat. They say Who-Day.
Who-Day
I don't know what that
Bengals.
means. Do y'all know what that means? The Who-Day?
No,
Who are
I
they?
thought it was
Who
the same
they?
thing.
I think who that was first, and then the
Right.
the Bungles jocked the Aints.
I thought it was Joe Burrow from LSU brought the Saints thing up there, but it's different. What is it? Do you know, Shane?
I don't know. Oh,
That
I don't
sounds
know.
like who they think they're
On
gonna
that,
beat
but
the Bengals.
When it
Well,
comes
Yeah.
to the
a few more
food,
things
But
on
I
your
bet-
Dolphins
Saints.
and Saints, they're compatible.
Yeah.
When it comes to the food.
I feel like a Saints fan, if you're gonna date a Saints fan, they're gonna be obsessing about their ex still. Because isn't there that guy you always think he's
There's
coming
always,
back again?
I don't know. I think the love for the old players are more important than anybody dates. I think people are obsessed with the players.
Constantly
Like
think
I
Drew
grew up
Brees
on
is
Morton
coming back.
Anderson, Bobby Abear. Didn't my dad? I can't go there. But Morton Anderson was like the best kicker. It kind of went on until Drew Brees. I mean, everybody loves Drew. Forget the X's. We'll just talk about the players. We just really enjoy football that much. And if you date somebody from New Orleans, everybody's just happy. It's just like a happy thing to do, to go to the game, enjoy your weekend. And everybody likes instead of going to the bars and watching the game, a lot of family and friends from New Orleans, they like to go to the game. So it's a look forward to thing. It's something you do after church. You go to church first, and you go to the game. So that's how it is to be around somebody from New Orleans. Now I live in Tampa now, and I live by Raymond James Stadium. Kind of crossed paths a few years ago, and I painted my house. I built the house near the stadium, the Buccaneer Stadium, and I painted it black and gold. So when the Saints play the Bucks, it's a win-win game for me. As far as raising my kids, I think my kids are happy for the Saints. They love the Saints, the roots. But they also are happy for the Bucks as well.
Would it
And the
be
difference on
okay
the
for a
Bucks,
Saints fan to cheat if it's with Drew Brees? Like that's allowed, right?
oh yeah, absolutely, 100%. You can't cross out.
You
It's
put
all
him on a
good.
pedestal up there, right?
I feel like
Yeah,
if
it's
you
all
Please
dated
tell me your house doesn't get vandalized, Sharon. Please tell me.
Oh no, people they come to my house and they love me. They love that I make the food. Drew Brees built a walk-ons right by my house, and it's slam packed. All the football games and all the different diversity of the teams. Everybody goes up to walk-ons, and it's like like I said, it's like everybody's friendly.
I
We don't
went
have
to New
problems like
Orleans
that.
once to see the Patriots play, and you're right, the food was great. We had some great
Yeah,
jambalaya.
it's all a
Bourbon
good
Street was
time.
fun. You could walk around outside with a drink on Bourbon Street. There was people fighting in the street, and like the police just watched. Like nobody tried to break up the fight. They're like, let these two guys fight.
I feel like as a
Yeah.
Saints fan too, you gotta be ready to go out because of Mardi Gras too.
Well, Mardi Gras just ended, and so that they all had a good time. Now we're looking forward to Jazz Festival. That's our next thing.
It was a wonderful fight too when the
And French
49ers
Quarter
went
Festival.
down there and beat you guys, and we had the the scarlet, red, and gold all down Bourbon Street.
Did you have
That
a
was
good
a
time? Did you
that
have a
was a
good
pretty
time?
sight. It was beautiful.
I'm sure that you had a good time. That's all that matters.
It was beautiful. But I love New Orleans. That's one of my favorite cities. We're gonna, as a matter of
Thank
fact, my
you.
husband and I are gonna be there in 2 weeks for a long weekend. Love New Orleans.
And enjoy your time.
Awesome. All right. We got Cameron to finish this out here. Another Niners take.
Yeah, I already heard a couple takes on the Niners, so I was gonna talk about my other team. But one thing I do want to say about Yolanda and I think was it Jason? I think it was Jason. Anyways, we're part of the faithful red. All right, that's another thing about us. We're gonna stay faithful, and our garage or tool shed has a lot of sharp tools in it. I'm talking the Christian McCaffreys, the Debo Samuels, the George Kittles, the Nick Bosa, Fred Warner. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Faithful
And
red.
anyways,
Does that have something to do with like what time of month it is or something? What's this faithful red thing?
So no, faith. That's what we're called. Faith. But my other team, you're probably wondering how is he faithful if he's got another team? I'm talking about my college team, the Ducks. Okay. So the thing about the Ducks, all right, ladies like fashion. All right, they like that. We got different gear every week.
What kind of fashion do you guys have? Because obviously you're not going to the right place.
You want
This
some
looks like trash bags
Nikes?
to me.
That's fine. Hey, things are getting turned around right now too. We were one game away from being in the playoff last year, and both those games against Washington, we were the better team. I saw it. We dominated. It's just awful calls going forward on 4th and goal. And then, it's the coaching. But guess what? Dan Lanning he's learned from those mistakes. He's loading up the team with top talent. He's dipping down in the SEC and he's grabbing some of that good stuff and he's bringing it over to the Pacific Northwest.
Hey, I'll tell you
the
what,
other
brother.
thing I want to say, about us Duck fans is Autzen Stadium's only 55,000 people, yet we're one of the loudest stadiums in the nation. We're loud. We come with that noise.
I just became a Ducks fan. I just became a Ducks fan just to watch the way he says the Ducks. I love it. I love it. You gave me the energy.
Let's save college. We can do a whole nother show on college. But let's give a shout out to Alvin and Jackie in the chat here that have been keeping right up with us. There was an OMG about her husband's a Raiders fan. Someone called the Popo domestic violence. 49ers won one game is 5 years in New Orleans. This was some Jerry Rice, some LSU references here. Yeah, we got some more Ducks fans here as well. Tigers eat the Ducks over LSU every time. Awesome. If you guys in the chat want to join us on Zoom, I'll put the link in here. Coming up in our next segment, we're going to be covering our game of the night. It's an important part of growing the channel that we center around a game of the night because there's a lot of people coming to YouTube to watch the game of the night. And so I'm just trying to be totally transparent in what our plans are for growing the channel. Every night, about 200 to 500 people come to YouTube and they basically watch. You can't show the games because they're copyrighted. They watch like the box score, and these channels on YouTube put the box score live and play music. And then people want to talk in the chat. So our goal is to scoop up some of that audience by talking about the actual game that's on, talking about other things that's on, and providing people with some more entertaining and commentary than just listening to music, and inviting people to be in the show. I always dreamed of getting to be on a talk show. That's never going to happen, or I don't have time to go to journalism school. But so why not start our own show? And that's what we are. My vision is we're building the next Barstool, the next brand in sports, but for the people, with the people. I appreciate everyone who's here early on, who kind of gets the vision of this and wants to be a part of our team. Our goal in building the brand is to have viral moments, right? That's what works on YouTube, and we're starting to do more and more of that. We're trying out new things every night. We were responding to the Pat McAfee show. We were making good progress with that, but he's on vacation for the next 2 weeks. And there's no NBA games for the next 3 days. So it was like, wow, we started getting some momentum at the end of last week. Our views doubled to about, I think, 260 on the Friday episode about the All-Star game. And so hopefully they continue to double. Usually these things about every week or every month, they kind of double and grow. And that's what we're looking to do here. So the next, in the interest of doubling our content, I'm actually going to turn off the broadcast before the next game starts up. It's about to tip off at 9. Some people here prepared takes. It's okay if you're not a big college fan. We're going to be talking about other things in here as well as we get into the next call. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to close the Zoom, restart the YouTube broadcast with it labeled for the game so that we can scoop up some of that audience. And so if you want to rejoin us, which I hope everyone will, it'll be the same Zoom link for you guys. And then we'll have a new YouTube link for everyone to connect over there. So that's what we're about to do now. We're about to end this broadcast. This is Greg Wells signing off for You Talk Sports. I'll see you right back here on this same Zoom. If you're watching us on YouTube, you'll see a new YouTube link about to go live. And I want to thank everyone for your contributions tonight. And hopefully we'll see you back on here. And it'll just take about 2 minutes to restart the Zoom. All right. Have a great night.